In our previous video on outliers by Malcolm Gladwell, the story of success, we saw that an outlier is anybody that achieves extraordinary success. Now, I want you to think about an outlier that fits the following categories I'm about to give you. So 1, visual arts, sports, science, business, entrepreneurship. Keep those names somewhere in your brain and consider this scenario with me. Say someone is trying out for his high school basketball team. There are 15 slots in total available, and at the end of the trial he doesn't get any of those slots. Would you say that individual has a lot of talent, has average talent, or has very little talent? Well, the scenario I just gave is something that occurred in 1978 with Michael Jordan, who later on went on to become arguably the greatest basketball player of all time, achieving more success than any of his other high school mates who occupied those 15 slots. So often when we think about outliers and those that achieve extraordinary success, the words that come into our mind are words like giftedness, natural ability, talent. It's easy to have this notion, or we tend to have this notion that what makes someone achieve greatness, mastery, or do the extraordinary is something inherent, something natural, something that flows through the person, or something that the person is born with. But the truth is that the more we study outliers, the dimmer that picture becomes. Today, we know that the only gift or talent that we truly need, and that which we all have, is the gift of adaptability, of neuroplasticity. To know that we can adapt and learn anything that we put our minds to understand that our brains are plastic and that it can be molded into any shape and form that we so desire. In the words of Bruce Lee, to become formless like water. When water is poured into a cup, it becomes the cup. When water is poured into a teapot, it becomes the teapot. To have that awareness, that consciousness of being able to become anything. It's easy to see someone as gifted or talented in our old understanding when we see them, because most of the time we see only the finished product. We don't see the hours and hours and hours they spend behind the scenes beating down on their craft. We can look at someone like Kobe Bryant, someone like Will Smith, who say they don't see themselves as being extremely talented, but where they excel is by having a ridiculous work ethic. In an incredible number of fields, both mental and physical, research by Ericsson shows us that those that achieve extraordinary success spend on average 10,000 hours of deliberate practice in that field or in that craft. Now, the 10,000 hours is usually when they are beginning the path of mastery. So by the time usually they would have ended their career, some would have spent about 25,000, 30,000 hours plus of deliberate practice in that field or in that craft. What makes people go all the way is what we know as grit. Grit is about falling in love and staying in love. Grit is about having passion and perseverance. Grit is about having stamina. Grit is about seeing the journey as a marathon and not a sprint. Grit is about having the attitude that nothing can stop you, nothing can break you, nothing can derail you. There are some people, or there are some outliers that have this mentality that they love their goal more than death, and they don't fear death in order to achieve that goal. Now, that sort of obsession, if you look at it that way, drives them to do the extraordinary. Grit is not fixed. You can actually grow in grit. So you can grow in grit by 1, developing an obsessive fascination about your craft, 2, seeking to improve daily, 3, reminding yourself of a greater purpose, then 4, having a growth mindset. Okay, when you begin to do these 4 things, okay, over time, you begin to move yourself forward in your craft and towards the path or the destination of mastery. So essentially what we are seeing is that we have this natural inherent ability, not in some of us, but in all of us. And that ability is adaptability, the ability to adapt, to become, to learn, and to grow. And once we combine that innate ability in all of us with grit, over time we gain mastery. Over time we become, or we are able to do the extraordinary. So, what made a high school kid who at one point couldn't get into his high school basketball team that had 15 slots available? What made that same kid go on to become the greatest basketball player of all time? Take a minute and think about it and leave your answer in the comment section. See you another time on Theta Nos.